Hello there, my name's Paul, and I want to talk a little bit about poetry. And if you're not from Yorkshire, you probably won't understand a word I'm saying, but hey ho. I write lots of poetry myself, I really do. I write lots and lots of poetry. Example, the other night I was lying in bed playing tense, and I don't know what it was, but I reached up and I ripped a big lump of cardboard off at window. I did, a whole pane, I just ripped it off. And I looked out across the twin cities of Barnsley and Sheffield, and this velvety blackness that was bestrewn with a milky spattering of tiny dots of light that were other worlds and infinity away, and I thought to myself, what does it all mean? What is it all about, all this life and that? Then I thought it's got fuck all to do with me, went back to bed. I'm getting a headache thinking about it. Anyway, one of my favourite poems is by Mike Harding. You may remember Mike Harding. A long time ago he was a very popular comedian on TV. And my favourite poem is called Napoleon's Retreat from Wigan. It's a true story about Napoleon, because Napoleon didn't come from France or from Sardinia. He come from Fleetwood. He was a Fleetwood tram guard until French bought him at a National Heroes sale at Lytham St Anne's, and they made him dress up in silly hats and stuff like that. You must have seen him in that book War and Peace. You've seen that? Well, I had a better one in our shop called Pie and Peace. It was much better than that, it was, honest. But you always see a picture of him with his hand up his vest like this. A lot of people think, well, why has he got his hand up his vest? Some people thought it was because he'd left his armpits on bus and he was checking, but because he'd always take his armpits off and forget them and leave them and stuff. Or checking battery in his hearing aid sometimes, but the truth was that Napoleon used to chew his fingernails, and he chewed them that bad that the ends of his fingers looked like celery they'd been hit with a brick hammer. He used to pick his nose with Black & Decker. Anyway, this is the true story about Napoleon. Napoleon's Retreat from Wigan. It was on the plains of Earlham, the year was 1815, and Napoleon was sat in his long john supping brasso with Josephine. He chewed his nails to the very quick, so he chewed 'em down to slow. He was chewing very hard, but up backyard come a corporal, his nose all aglow. "Eh bien, mon capitaine," he said. "Sacre bleu, better lost palace vous." And Boney spat out a big lump of nail and said, "Bugger me, what's to do?" "Well, it's lads," cried Corporal, picking his nose. "We played Wigan at billiards last night, but Wigan lads cheated and give us wobbly cues and sewed all pockets up tight. And they put lard on us balls, and glue on us chalk, and stuffed us wellies up with barbed wire. Then they bunged us muskets up with parking, so we couldn't get the buggers to fire. And we had to walk home after punch-up, 'cause Tramguard looked at us right black. He said, 'Bug off, froggies,' so we had to leg it all the way back." "Ecky la pecky," said Boney, "I'll show 'em what team's the best." So he had a chew on his fingernails and he stuck his hand up his vest. "Dish out some spud guns and catapults," he said, "and give lads pea shooters all round. We'll burn down their pie and pea shops, and we'll raise chippies down to ground. Us'll run through Wigan like a dose of Andrews. We'll make 'em tremble and quake. We'll loot and we'll pillage and we'll pinch things as well, and we'll smash all the Beccles cakes." Well, he borrowed the Earlham muck cart and some spuds to roast on way, and with all of his lads in wagon he pointed horse Wigan way. Well, soon the horse couldn't go no further, because it were getting weary and smelly and old, and it asked for blanket and time and half and boots for working it cold. Well, they traipsed round the slush, round the slag heaps, and up bit canal and bit pier, till they come to a big doormat in snow that said "Fuck off." And Boney says, "Hey up lads, we're here." But the gates of Wigan was bolted tight, and Boney said, "Pho, what a pest." So he had another chew on his fingernails and he stuck his hand up his vest. Well, he was there at the front gates of Wigan, frozen tears were running in lumps down his chin. So he kicked on front door with his wellies in temper and said, "Come on, cheeky buggers, let's in." But there on the gates of Wigan was a notice he read with a groan. It said, "Fuck off! We heard you were coming, there's no one home." Now Boney were right blazing, but Wigan was blazing also, 'cause Lord Mayor had left Chitpan gas ring, and Wigan were all aglow. Well, Wigan soon burnt down to ashes, and it got cold, so they had to retreat. But they'd had the boots and socks on way, so they had to walk home in bare feet. Retreating what worst part of business, 'cause all lads were starting to see red, and they hissed and they booed at Boney up front and chucked snowballs at back of his head. Well, Boney were getting a bit pissed off with all this, so that night he worked out a plan. He pawned all lads' muskets as they lay there in kip, and he buggered off home on tram. Well, it was dark when he got back to their street, and the stars were twinkling above, and his passions aroused, and he burst all his buttons as he thought of Josephine, his love. Well, he opened the door, he stamped the snow off his boots, he stuck his rifle in plant pot it all. He shouted, "I'm home, sweetie pie, light of my life," and Josephine shouted rude things. "Don't think you can go out conquering," she said, "enjoying yourself with lads. You worst bloody stop out in Earlham, you." And Boney said, "There's no answer to that. You haven't finished papering at lobby yet, and house is a right bloody mess, and all you can do is stand there chewing your nails and sticking your hand up your vest." Ooh, she flew downstairs and she smashed him in gob, and when he tried to get in bed she got right nasty and picked up the paw and emptied it o'er his head. So you see what they say in them historical books, it ain't always right. It were Boney who got the deaf and dumb breakfast, and it were Josephine who said not tonight. 'Cause she made him sleep downstairs on hearthrug, tossing and turning without rest, kicking the cat and chewing his nails and sticking his hand up his vest. Thank you.